I guess I'm responsible for this. It's a book called Bad, and it's a collection of short stories and narrative poems written by me. And I'm holding this really tiny Dixie cup, and that feels kind of awkward, so I'm going to finish drinking it. Okay. I just didn't want to get thirsty in the middle of my reading. So I'm going to read a short story and a poem for you. Or I'll read part of a short story. I'm going to time myself so that I don't go over it, because I'm worried about that. But this book was is kind of a summation of about a year's worth of writing for me. I've done this in various workshops and things like that with visiting writers who've come here. One of them I actually wrote this semester, which is kind of amazing to think about, and I was also encouraged and helped along the way by Anne Hostetler, so Anne will sing the praises here tonight. And that's all I really have to say. And I'm going to just read a part of the story now, if I can find it. I probably should have prepared for this. All right. This story is called "The Trial Should Come." One of my earliest memories is Mom's sharp voice calling me as I lay deep in the tall grass behind our house. "Esther, come inside. You're going to get all sorts of ticks and fleas in your hair if you lie like that." When I was a kid, Mom's commands were always buffered by the love and warmth of her strong embrace. The same arms that put power behind a spanking used to lift me from the asphalt when I colored it red from a fall. But when she called me in from the grass, she was just a voice, the strength of love now beaming through a terrifying, all-seeing eye. I don't lie in the grass much anymore. I've come to share Mom's fear of ticks. I find myself spending more time in the blue Prius I picked out because it matches the colors of my glasses. I'm driving it now down a winding Pennsylvania road as Daryl and I head off to meet Mom at her favorite restaurant. Daryl's been silent for the 15-minute drive, though that's nothing new. He's busy drinking one of those $5 herbal teas that each come packaged in a curvaceous plastic bottle that screams to onlookers, "Yeah, you're damn right I'm no Lipton." Daryl's gotten a bit portly in our 3 years of marriage. He does hit the gym with me a few times a week, but works from home and seems to always have the fridge open. He mostly snacks on fruit and hummus, but they seem to be way too much of a good thing, much like his belly, that jiggles slightly with each bump on the road. His fat vibrations almost dance, but they're just enough out of sync with the Enya emanating from my car speakers to throw off the beat. The restaurant where we'll meet Mom is one of those roadside country places that sells nothing but burgers, grilled sandwiches, and buttered everything. You can't get bread there unless it's completely saturated in butter and then thrown on a skillet. But Mom loves the place. Daryl's not so crazy about it either, but with Mom, you can't really get her out to try much else. We pull into the parking lot, and I probably brake a little too aggressively as we slide up next to a hideous black SUV. "Well, did you remember to grab the leash and shock collar?" I ask. I lean forward and almost collapse on the steering wheel. Daryl simply lets out a heavy sigh. I know what he's thinking, that I shouldn't talk about Mom that way. We've had the conversation enough times. "Daryl, you know, we're under no obligation to be here. I mean, we could pull out and head back right now. I even have some tilapia I've been meaning to put on, and that fresh arugula that was on sale." "Esther," he interrupts. We sit in some awkward seconds. "We need to be here. It's your mother," Daryl says. "Yeah, just the person we need right now, my mom, who just loves rubbing sriracha into every open wound she can wrap her calloused old hands around." Hey, if you leave the card with those kinds of words, this really will suck. I pout for a moment the way lovers do when they call each other out. "Let's go in. I'm getting hungry," Daryl says. I get out quickly to make sure Mom doesn't see me following Daryl inside, as if she would be hyper-attentive to any sign of reluctance. The restaurant actually looks pretty nice on the outside, almost like a cottage. It's a mellow brown, and somehow the round corners make it seem all the more inviting. The inside has never been so bad either. The chairs are cozy, and the staff is so nice, you almost forget that the food they serve will devastate your body. It doesn't take me long to see Mom alone at a table, sipping her iced tea and nibbling on some pan-cooked buttered toast. Of course, she picked the table at the exact center of the room, right in eyeshot of the elevated entrance area. She doesn't say anything until I've already pulled out a chair and am sitting down. It's a square table, and Daryl takes the seat next to me. "Oh, hi, Esther. I was starting to think you'd abandoned me here." I checked my watch. We're a whole 3 minutes late. Wow, poor Mom. "Well, you know how things are, Mom," I say, gritting my teeth. "Daryl and I aren't always the best at getting out the door." "Oh, well, he never has been," she says towards Daryl, her mouth agape slightly in a kind of subtle horror. "There's something a little different about you, Daryl. Have you gained weight?" Daryl puts on a smile and says nothing. It wouldn't be hard to come up with a good response. Mom has a few fat holes hanging off her too, but probably thinks her black top conceals them. I can tell Daryl's offended by her comment, but he's used to it by now. "So I'm sure you've had the child on your mind," Mom says. "It's been hard on both of us," Daryl quietly offers. "Miscarriages always are hard on the mother," Mom says. "I should know with the two I had before you were finally born, Esther." Of course, the miscarriage Daryl and I went through comes up, and within seconds, Mom has already found a way to rehash one of her own personal tragedies. I mean, it'd be great having a mom who knew what I was going through if she didn't have such a damn ego about it. I'm tempted to point this out and start the inevitable argument, but a waitress is approaching our table. "Hi, folks, my name's Carla, and I'll be your server today." Mom and I nod politely, but Daryl stays buried in his menu. Deep down, he's the same loner, quiet loner he was in college. And I'll stop there. If you read my book, you can find out what happens to Daryl and Esther and her mom. And it's a good story. I like it. And I'll read a poem so that you can get a sense of what that's going to be all about. And the poem that I'm going to read is called "My Life Flows On." And just for just to let you know, these poems are not autobiographical in any way. I love my grandparents. All of them are wonderful people, and they're still alive. And none of them would treat me the way that the grandfather in this poem treats the narrator. But such is writing. You need to make things interesting, and fun, happy, nice lives like mine aren't very interesting. So I wrote this poem. My life flows on. When my brother graduated high school, Granddad took him backpacking through Scotland. When I graduate high school, Granddad takes me to a campground in New Jersey. I hold our tent poles like a hippie with an AK-47 as breezes carry the smells of urine and sludge from a nearby latrine. "We need 2 pairs of hands," says the musty geezer. His oval glasses disguise pupils in shining summer rain. Look like holes, not eyes. "What if you had to do it yourself? Without me?" Stakes pound into the ground. I stand helpless. "Me and your brother went 15 miles a day in Scotland." Grabs the poles and frees my hands. I can finally wipe away rain from my face. I hope it's rain on my face. 3 years later, 3 breakups, a 2.3 GPA. Skipping classes to stand in a hospital over the same fogey who called me weak. Fulfilled my Even Stevens grad trip with the crummiest piece of hell in America. Mom and Dad and my grandma and my Scotland traveling brother are all there. Everyone's crying, and Granddad breathes through a tube. It must be the first indoor hailstorm because my face is stinging and wet, and Grandma doesn't know his favorite hymn. He asked that we sing it together in the tent. Fell asleep before it finished. I didn't realize until we both went silent that all along it had just been my own voice, in the rain, and the cicadas, and the night. That's all I'm going to read for you. You can read my book and find out all the other exciting things that are going to happen in there. And please buy the book because we need to sell a certain number of these to recoup funds, and Goshen is struggling financially right now. I don't want to read on Wikipedia a few years from now, Goshen College, 1894 to 2013, brought down by the English department for pinch penny authors. So buy some books. Thank you.